Those who want Northern Ireland to remain a part of the United Kingdom must put the Union first and get back to power sharing. That's the message from the Northern Ireland Secretary Chris Heaton-Harris at a conference in Belfast to mark 25 years since the Good Friday Agreement. Power sharing at Stormont has been suspended for more than a year after a row over a post-Brexit trade deal. Well, Daniel Mulhall is a former ambassador of Ireland to the United States and joins us now. Welcome to the programme, Daniel. You were part of the Irish government delegation at those negotiations that ended up producing the Good Friday Agreement 25 years ago. How tense were those talks leading up to the agreement? What was the atmosphere like?
Very tense. You had the world's media gathered outside in large numbers. We were all sort of more or less trapped within the building. I remember the night of the agreement, I stayed in all the delegation stayed in the negotiating building called Castle Buildings, and we all kind of slept in armchairs and then got up the following morning and started work again. So, but eventually the whole thing did come together. At the start of that week, the Monday of the week of which ended on Good Friday. The Monday of that week, there was about a 50-50 chance, maybe a little more than that it was going to happen. But throughout the week, there were lots of difficulties, and it only came together really in the last 12 hours or so, with a lot of pressure from the two prime ministers who were there in person, President Clinton on the phone, Senator George Mitchell trying to appeal to and cajole the various parties into place. But eventually it did get done, and the agreement has lasted 25 years. I think it'll last many, many years more, and it saved thousands of lives, because you have to remember that in the 25 years before 1998, more than 3,000 people lost their lives in Northern Ireland, and in the last 25 years, really a very small number. So the problems have not been resolved, but the agreement has certainly made a huge difference in Northern Ireland.
So we've recently seen the Windsor Framework hailed as a solution to the issues posed by the Good Friday peace deal caused by Brexit. Do you think those will work, the framework?
Well, I think the framework is the best option available, really. I mean, Brexit was always going to cause problems on the island of Ireland, for Northern Ireland especially, because with Brexit, the only part of the UK that has a border with the European Union, a land border, is Northern Ireland with the rest of Ireland, and that was always going to be problematic. A number of solutions were put forward. Protocol was agreed in 2020, and then that sort of came asunder there a little later. And the Windsor Framework is the product of years of intensive negotiations between the British government and the EU, and it's certainly a big advance on what was in the original protocol, and it does remove most of the practical problems that were identified with the protocol. And I think it certainly, and it also commands huge support in Britain. Only 29 members of the Westminster Parliament voted against the framework when it was put to a vote a month ago. So I think it's the best option available. Obviously, the unionist parties are still not happy with it, but I think the pressure will build. And today, I think in the last few days in Belfast, we've seen a lot of quite powerful speeches urging the Democratic Unionist Party to take up their seats within the Northern Ireland Assembly and the executive that's meant to run Northern Ireland for the benefit of all the people of that part of the world.
And we've just seen this big high-profile visit by US President Biden. Now the Clintons, among others, are in Northern Ireland. What do you make of these visits and what they say about the importance of the US-Irish relationship?
Yes, well, I had the privilege of being ambassador for 5 years in Washington, D.C., and I traveled all over the United States. And I realized when I was there more and more how deeply connected many Irish Americans are with their ancestral homeland, even though they may be 4, 5, 6 generations removed from Ireland, but they still have this fascination with Ireland, this admiration for Ireland, this affiliation with Ireland, and they are very keen to make their influence felt. And they played a big role 25 years ago in helping to bring about the agreement, and in the last few years they've been quite active in pushing to ensure that no hard border would be erected on the island of Ireland because of the impact of Brexit. So yes, the Irish-American relationship is a really extraordinarily warm and positive one. It's very comprehensive. It involves political, economic, and also sentimental, historical ties. And that is what President Biden was celebrating last week when he came to Ireland, and was received with with rapturous warmth by people all over Ireland, especially in the west of Ireland, where his family hails from, where emigration has played a big part in society there for generations, centuries past. And I think people there really understood the importance of welcoming back a famous son of Ireland.
Daniel Mulhall, former Ambassador of Ireland to the United States. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Very welcome.